This is a standard United Kingdom power socket of the type that has been in use since 1947. It's made to British standard 1363, and ever since it was first introduced it has had one very powerful feature which makes British sockets the safest sockets in the world. And that feature is that in the power connectors here there is actually a safety shutter specifically to prevent children poking things into it, and that is automatically in place whenever a plug is not inserted. So only when we insert the plug do those lower holes become open, but they're open behind the plug. If I just insert an earth pin in there, you'll see what's happening. When the earth pin goes in, the sockets here are revealed. Now I've got a little probe here. This socket is not connected to the mains. That would be dangerous. I'd kill myself in doing this demonstration if that were the case. So I'm going to take my little probe, which is just using a battery, insert it into there. Now that's the neutral, so we're not going to expect to see anything there. This one's the live pin. That's normally 230 volts, and as you can see I'm making contact. But if I take that earth pin out, no contact because the shutter is in place. Most people don't realize that these shutters exist, and so if they have small children around they use these things, safety socket covers. This one is the type sold by Woolworths and B&Q, and the idea is that it plugs in there and prevents the child having access. But as you've seen, the child already was prevented from access by the internal shutters, so no problem. Well, yes, there is a problem, and the problem is that if we take this out and insert it upside down, and as you can see it wasn't difficult to remove. A child could easily do that, and then playing around, experimenting, puts it in upside down, and we've now opened that, so again we've exposed the child to 230 volts, and that can easily kill a child. This is a different manufacturer socket. This one's actually made by MK, and it uses an alternative method of opening the safety shutters, which is also permitted by BS 1363. So in this case, if I insert this earth pin, you can see here that the shutters have not actually opened. If I poke around in here, you'll see my light does not light up. And the only way to actually insert something in here is for both of the pins to be inserted at precisely the same moment, and then it opens, and of course this would be the case with a real plug, and then you can see that we've made contact here. So in this case you might think that even with a socket cover in place there is no danger. If you put the socket cover in upside down like this, it cannot open the shutters. So what I'm going to do is put a couple of covers in here. That one is made by IKEA, and this one, which is physically just about identical apart from the colour, is made by Mothercare. And I want you to see what happens. If I go to here, there's a very small hole, but big enough to put a pin or a paper clip or something like that in, and now we've exposed the live wire. This could kill a child. Exactly the same thing with the Mothercare version over here. I'll just put my probe into that wee hole, and you will see it light up. We've touched the live connection. So you could do that with a pin, a needle, paperclip, sorts of small objects that are around in any home. So perfectly safe socket rendered unsafe by the use of a safety socket cover. I want to talk to you about this type of cover. This one is from ClipperSafe. I'm going to insert it as a child might, upside down, and I'm just going to put a little bit of extra pressure on it so that you can see what happens if it's pushed. Not desperately hard, certainly the sort of pressure that a slightly older child, 4 or 5-year-old, might easily be able to apply. And as you can see, the earth pin has simply snapped off. We'll just try that again so you can see. Insert it upside down, and a little bit of extra pressure and the earth pin snaps off. And of course this has once again made this socket very dangerous. If I insert my probe in here, you can see sockets are open. There we go. That one as well, of course. And Because the broken earth pins aren't particularly obvious to the casual observer, these could sit in there and await possibly a younger sibling coming along and electrocuting themselves. In fact, if a child had done that, then he probably wouldn't immediately want to own up to what he'd done, so may well not alert the parent to what had happened. And whereas you might say an inverted socket cover would be reasonably obvious when a parent came along or an adult, just the broken earth pin might go unnoticed for a long time. So that's the clipper safe type. It's actually physically identical to that sold by John Lewis, and we've had exactly the same experience with the John Lewis ones. Not every one will snap in that way, but on the tests we've done, at least half are liable to snap.